Small wins are big wins, celebrating progress, not perfection. Life can feel like a relentless race toward perfection. Too often, we carry the weight of lofty ambitions, staggering benchmarks, and an overwhelming belief that success is only valid if it's big, bold, and grand. But today's video explores a different approach, the power of small wins. What if our paths to success aren't defined by monumental leaps, but by consistent, measured steps? What if our growth and joy comes from celebrating progress, even when it isn't perfect? Let's dive into why these small wins are indeed big wins. Have you ever felt paralyzed by the need to get something just right? Maybe it's finishing a massive work project or starting a new fitness journey. The truth is, perfection often creates unrealistic expectations. It tricks us into believing we can only thrive if we achieve flawlessly, leaving little room for error or learning. When perfection becomes the goal, it frequently leads to burnout, procrastination, or the stifling fear of failure. Instead of focusing solely on perfection, ask yourself, what can I do today to move forward? Focusing on progress shifts the narrative. It reminds us that big goals are the end result of countless patient steps. Small wins are the approachable, incremental milestones that move us closer to our larger objectives. They might be as simple as drinking more water, tidying up your workspace, or choosing a nutritious meal. While seemingly minor, these wins lay the foundation for greater achievements. They give us something immediate to celebrate and encourage consistency in our efforts. Over time, these small steps create the momentum needed to tackle even the biggest goals. It's not about diminishing ambition, it's about rethinking how we measure success. Progress happens in the moments we tend to overlook. Celebrating small wins isn't just a feel-good idea, it's a strategy backed by science. Achieving even a modest goal triggers a release of dopamine in the brain, the feel-good hormone. This surge of positivity reinforces productive behaviors, whether completing a single task or reaching a short-term milestone. Over time, this leads to habit formation. By building on small victories, we cultivate the confidence and motivation to continue striving toward our ambitions. More importantly, acknowledging progress builds resilience. The road to any meaningful achievement is rarely linear. There are detours, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. Small wins remind us that we're still moving forward, even when the finish line feels far away. Imagine training for a marathon. No one steps out on day one and runs 26.2 miles. Instead, they start small, running 1 mile, then 2, gradually building strength and endurance. This concept applies to everything, from learning a new skill to building a career. When we celebrate each step, however small, it keeps us engaged and motivated. Take, for example, a student struggling with a massive exam. Breaking the preparation into smaller, manageable chunks, learning one chapter at a time, instead of cramming everything in one go, makes the process less daunting. Each chapter mastered becomes a win worth celebrating. Over weeks, the cumulative progress not only prepares the student for success, but also reduces anxiety. Shifting focus from perfection to progress requires a mindset change. Instead of tying your sense of worth to flawless outcomes, anchor it in the consistent effort you put forth. This doesn't mean abandoning big goals, but rather appreciating the steps you take to reach them. It also means letting go of harsh self-criticism. Celebrate what you did accomplish, no matter how small it may seem. For instance, let's say you're striving for a healthier lifestyle. If you didn't have time to prepare a perfect meal, but chose a healthier takeout option, or went for a short walk instead of skipping exercise altogether, that is progress. Small moments of effort stack up into meaningful change over time. One of the reasons big goals feel overwhelming is the sheer scope of what needs to happen to achieve them. Breaking them into smaller tasks is a proven strategy for success. Start by defining your larger goal. For example, you want to write a book. Instead of staring at an intimidating 300-page target, break it down into manageable steps. outlining the chapters, writing a few paragraphs daily, or editing one section at a time. When you approach each of these smaller tasks as victories, the larger goal feels achievable rather than daunting. Similarly, professionals managing big projects often use milestones to track progress. Successfully completing a single phase, even if it's just gathering data or creating a rough draft, deserves to be celebrated. These moments build momentum and free you from the perfectionist trap. Learning to identify and celebrate small wins transforms how you interact with your goals. But what does this actually look like in practice? Here are a few tips to help you get started. Track your progress. Keep a journal, checklist, or digital tracker. Write down every small win, no matter how minor it seems. Revisiting your accomplishments creates a motivating sense of momentum. Set milestones. Divide big goals into smaller, measurable objectives. These don't have to be grand gestures. Crossing one item off a to-do list counts. Create a celebration ritual. Mark every win with a small reward. A cup of coffee, a favorite activity, or even verbal acknowledgement. Think of these as little moments to pause, reflect, and recharge. Reframe success. Focus on effort rather than outcomes. Even if your progress isn't perfect, attempting something is better than doing nothing. Celebrate showing up. Share your wins. Sharing achievements with friends, family, or colleagues can amplify their impact. Celebrate as a team or community. It creates an uplifting feedback loop. Modern culture idolizes big, flashy achievements. Social media, for instance, fills our feeds with highlights, promotions, big purchases, life-altering moments. Against this backdrop, the day-to-day grind of making incremental progress often feels invisible or insignificant. But here's the truth. These small, seemingly unremarkable actions are what enable those celebrated highlights. Behind every marathon medal, there are months of early morning runs. Behind every successful product launch, there are hours of brainstorming, problem-solving, and prototypes. Recognizing and valuing these unsung steps gives us a deeper appreciation of success and the perseverance it requires. Life is full of setbacks. Maybe you missed a deadline, experienced rejection, or had a personal goal delayed for reasons beyond your control. Small wins become especially important in these moments. They remind us that even amidst adversity, effort is still worthwhile. Celebrating progress, whether it's picking yourself back up after failure or simply trying again, builds mental strength. Over time, this kind of resilience is what allows us to keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles. Perhaps the most remarkable part of embracing small wins is their cumulative effect. By focusing on manageable progress, you develop habits, resilience, and confidence over months and years. What might seem like small victories today can result in significant transformations down the road. This isn't just a motivational idea, it's a foundational approach to achieving growth. Take, for example, someone seeking to learn a new language. Practicing just 15 minutes daily might not seem life-changing in the moment, but over the course of a year, that consistency could result in fluency. Small wins compound. They create ripples that grow into waves. So, what should you do now? Take a moment to reflect on your day. What's one small win you can celebrate right now? Did you complete a task you'd been avoiding? Did you take a few minutes to care for yourself? Whatever it is, pause and acknowledge it. Maybe even reward yourself for making progress, however small. Remember, life isn't about reaching some perfect finish line. It's about the journey and the moments along the way. With each small win, you're building a foundation for future success. Progress is the goal, and every step forward, no matter how tiny, is a step worth celebrating. Because in the end, small wins truly are the big wins.